Okay, awesome. I think everyone should be here already. I see a couple people trickling in, but welcome to our first designer buyer workshop. We're very excited to be able to connect with a lot of brands and designers here. And we are doing this in collaboration with the New York Sewing Center. We're here with Kristen. She is part of a sewing school with fashion design in New York City. And they also have a co-working space for fashion designers to get them started. So we're excited to be able to host this with you guys today. And just to give you guys an idea as to how today will run, um, we will be going over line sheets to really help you guys prepare to interact with buyers. If you don't know what line sheets are, it's totally fine. We'll really walk you through what that looks like. We'll be going over shipping dates and lead time, and you'll know what that is in just a second. And to prepare for buyers, oftentimes you guys do have to set both wholesale and retail pricing. And again, if you're new to line sheets, we'll really teach you A, B, and C. And then lastly, we'll be inviting you guys to showcase your collection if you have one during our New York Fashion Week show this September. But before we jump into that, just to get an idea of who's in the room, we'll do some intros. So if I do call on you, we want to hear more about you. So definitely tell us the name of your brand, if you've ever created line sheets before, and then if you have your pieces in any of our stores. And we will be putting a check-in type form in the chat as well, so that we can hear about your experiences as well. So first, why don't we go ahead and have Rashida. There should be a microphone on the bottom left of your screen, and then I also send you an invite to join.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. So I'm Rashida. The name of my brand is 1027. I have never created line sheets before, and none of my pieces have been in the stores yet.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for sharing. And then why don't we have in deck? There should be a microphone on the bottom left.
Okay.
There you go.
So my name is Mika. Um, I'm a new designer. I just started out, so I don't exactly have a name for my brand.
Okay.
But, and I've never done line sheets before either.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for sharing. And then why don't we go ahead and have Lachey? Lachey Mitchell.
Hello, my name is Lachey Mitchell. My brand name is more Lachey's. I've never recreated line sheets. This would be my second time doing the model experience.
Nice, awesome. Welcome back. Welcome. And we'll do a couple more, guys. Why don't we have Jay? Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, great. My name is Zavarius. Most people know me as Josie. My clothing brand is Please Stop Asking. Like on my see, no disrespect, it has a lineage, but I pretty much it's my first time doing a modeling experience. I've done line sheets before, worked with manufacturers, done shipping, a bunch of other things, retail, wholesale, down in Atlanta. And, I'm excited and I'm honored to be a part too. So I just came to soak up a little bit more knowledge because I'm always a student in fashion. So.
For sure. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Why don't we have Jennifer? Jennifer Love.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Love. I'm the founder and designer of Bodylicious Couture. I have done a line sheet. I'm not in stores yet, but I'm in talk with a couple of boutiques.
Nice. Awesome. Perfect. And then we'll do one more, guys, and then we'll ship it over to line sheets. Why don't we have Jada?
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
My name's Jada. My brand name is Addie Ash Crystal. I've never created a line sheet before, and none of my collection isn't in any of the stores either.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing. And now we'll kind of shift it over to the New York Sewing Center so that we can start walking you guys through line sheets now that we have an idea as to where everyone is at. So Kristen, if you want to take it over. And then if you guys have any questions, there is a chat icon in the bottom of your screen. And if you're on your phone, if you just tap at the center, you'll see that chat icon as well.
And we're also going to drop the link rather than have you check in, because if you check in, it'll take you outside of this meeting. So we're going to drop a link for you to check out. So before you leave, we'll have you click on this link, check out. That way we can connect with you a little bit further after the session.
Awesome. Thank you. And yeah, Kristen, whenever you're ready, you are good to go.
Trying to unmute myself. I don't know if you guys can hear me.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Christine, and I'm the founder and owner of the New York Sewing Center. Just a little bit of background before we jump into the line sheets. So we are a sewing school, a fashion design school. We also have multiple locations, and we sell designers clothing as well. If you are a student of ours or one of our creators in our designer membership. So we help designers get started. We also help with small production. We help a fashion design course in New York City where we teach you how to work with a manufacturer and sketch something and turn it into a sample with it ready, priced, and then you know the recipe of how to create the rest of your line. So that's really appealing to this group particular. But tonight I'm just going to go through some of the main parts that we do teach in that class in kind of an accelerated format. So I was also a fashion designer for many years, worked in the industry for over 20 years and had my own clothing company and sold in many, many stores all over the world, actually. So this stuff is kind of like, you know, I remember it like it was yesterday, and I can teach it pretty quickly. So I'm going to start with line sheets. Line sheets are basically a piece of paper, as you can see, where there's a picture, an image of the garment that you are selling. And then there's going to be a name of the garment and a reference number. The reference number can literally be 001 and then 2, 3, 4, 5. So the purpose of that is so you can keep everything clean and organized if you are presenting this to a buyer. The next thing is the RRP, which is your retail price. It's your suggested retail price. So that is what you're going to sell the actual garment to the buyer at that suggested retail price. So that's the full amount. That's the wholesale price. So that's going to be the price you're selling it to the buyer. So you're going to have a wholesale and a retail. And for this, you're actually going to just list the wholesale. And then you can also list, most line sheets that I work with have a wholesale and a retail price listed on them. This one is showing a composition, which you could list the retail price there as well. That's just showing the buyer how much they're actually going to make if they bought it from you at a wholesale price. And so you want all of that listed on the line sheet. Another thing is if, for example, for this collection, a lot of these are very similar. You've got a blue, like the top row is basically the same shirt. It's just different color variations, which is super important for a line sheet so that you can keep the reference name and numbers different across the board. Is that making sense to everybody? Okay. All right, so let's move into pricing. Okay, sorry, shipping dates. All right. Another thing that you can add on your line sheets is an actual order area. So when we were just going over the line sheet, it kind of just gave the description to the buyer, but you can add another row and it could say, I want 5 of these, or I want 100 of these. And so then the next thing that you're going to talk to your buyers about are the shipment and delivery dates. So if I were going to be presenting at the show in September, there's usually a 6-month lead time. So that means you're always showing kind of the season 6 months ahead of the other season. So like if you're showing in the spring, you're showing what you'd be selling in the fall. So I know that's a little bit difficult to kind of think about, but if you are on a smaller scale, let's say you're a brand new designer and you're looking at me like, oh my God, I'm going to be creating a collection for fall, winter, and I'm going to be there in September. That's okay too, because you're on a smaller scale. However, your shipment and delivery dates will be shorter. So, or they can be longer. So let's say that I'm showing in September at the show and a buyer is like, I love your winter jackets that you've created, and they sit down with you, you show them your line sheet, and you're like, I offer this coat in 3 different colorways. These are my wholesale and retail prices. And they're like, great, I would like to get 100 of those. What are your shipment dates? So they are not going to want you to ship it immediately because it's already fall, winter. They've already bought for the season and they already have those clothes in their store. However, they might say, we'll buy for the next season or we'll buy for next fall, like 1 year in advance. So that gives you a 12-month lead time. So you could say on your line sheets that my shipment dates are for August because that's the following August. And that will be right before fall. That's when they will ship to the stores. So what you think what a really good way to remember this is you're going to have your shipment dates a month or two before the actual season starts. So if you're shipping for fall, winter, everything's in the store by the end of August, right? Because September rolls around and everybody's buying for fall. So if that's the case, you would give them a July and an August shipment date, and then they would get the package and they would put it in their stores for September through December. The other thing that's kind of the opposite if you're doing spring into summer, you're going to be shipping, you could ship for July, February, and then they would be having those in the store for the spring, summer. All right, so I think we can move to the next slide. Okay, and this is also another variation of showing, if you could put this on your line sheet. So as you can see, they have like the 2 different prices. They have, you can see there's like a $25 on the very first item with the black twist crop top. She has $25, and then she has the MSRP, and that's the manufacturing suggested retail price. So that's going to be her markup. So the $25 is what she would sell to the store. $45 is what she suggests that they sell in the store. So that's a 50% markup, and that's usually what it is for wholesale retail. So if you were selling to a boutique or a retail store, when you're mapping out your pricing, you'll take the fabric costs, the sewing costs, and any like notions, like if it has buttons, zippers, and tags, and that becomes your manufacturing cost. That becomes your actual wholesale price. So you take all of those costs and you multiply those times 2, and that would get you the $25. I hope that's making sense. So whatever it costs you to make, you multiply that times 2, and that becomes the wholesale. And then the wholesaler, the store, marks it up again times 2, and that way they're making a profit as well. And then if you're looking across the board, you can see also that they have these listed all the way along for every style, so that when a buyer goes to look at your collection, they want to know that you've priced it appropriately so they can sell it. So depending on your market, let's say that you're wanting to sell your clothes for $100. So if you want to sell your clothes for, let's say a top for $100, then it would need to cost you $25 to make it, so that you could then make the wholesale price $50, and then they can mark it up another $50 and make $100. Okay, making sense?
Yes, Christine, do you mind if we do it the other way around too? Like if we started and our cost was like $5 or
Yeah,
20?
sure.
Cool, thank
Yeah.
you.
So the cost is definitely going to be, I would say let's dissect it even more than that. Let's say that I'm going to make this jacket, right? The jacket is made of linen. The linen's going to cost me about $25 a yard. So I'm going to need probably 3 yards to make the jacket. So that's $75 just for my fabric. And then for someone to sew this, I think it would probably cost me $75 in a factory setting. So then I would add the $75 to that, and I'm at $150. That's my cost. Then I multiply that times two. That becomes $300 that I would sell it to the retail store. And then they would mark it up and then they would sell it for $600. Is that better?
Yeah, that's another great way to put it. Thank you. I just wanted to give them, a couple different perspectives. So thank you.
Awesome. Yeah. So I think sometimes when you're pricing your garments, what goes through your head is what I would pay for this. But you have to really think about the handmade quality made in the United States, what goes into it actually. And so another thing that the Sewing Center really helps with is keeping manufacturing here in the United States. We really help keep kind of the garment district alive. And we also have a small run production in the New York Sewing Center. So one issue, once you create this collection or once you become a designer and you have 18 pieces that you're going to show at the runway show, there's always a moment where, okay, let's say you get an order for 100. Where are you getting those produced? And so we kind of help you gap that. We bridge that gap so that you can find a manufacturer that will produce 100 instead of making you produce 500 if you were to go overseas. So it's a very fine line when you're a small designer getting started and trying to make maybe 5 of something or 10 of something. You run into a lot of issues where the pricing is too high. So we actually developed a factory within the Sewing Center as well, to where you can get 5, 10 garments made at a factory price, which is something that's new for us. And we've been working with a lot of designers, but that might help some of you too if you really are looking to have maybe 5 or 10 made for an order, which sometimes boutiques will start with because they don't know you yet and they don't want to commit to 100 at first.
And then someone put a question in the chat. Should I put my line sheets on my website?
No. So line sheet pricing, you don't want to reveal your wholesale price to the consumer. You want to reveal your wholesale price only behind the scenes when you're dealing with buyers. And the reason for that is you don't want your customer to know how much it costs you to make this. If they did the math on their own, they're gonna know, but like you don't want them to see that, this shirt was $15 and you're selling it for $35, if that makes sense. So you don't want that to be revealed to the clientele.
For sure. And again, guys, the chat is open for questions. So anything that might seem unclear, any questions that you guys can think of, we definitely encourage you guys to put those in the chat. If you do have a question, I'm sure other people might have them as well. So again, that chat is open for any questions that you guys might have.
Another thing that I would like to add is when you are showing at, the fashion week, and if you might get inquiries from buyers, it's always helpful to have a line sheet handy there so that they can remember you by the pictures of your garments. So on your line sheets, you want to make sure that you include a name of your brand, an email, a phone number, and then all of your pricing across the board so that they can get in contact with you and that they can also place an order with you over the phone or later after the show. I prefer a line sheet 10 times over any sort of like lookbook because they can actually see what their profit margins are just by looking at the line sheet. And just as an example, when I was getting my brand going, I sent a line sheet to Neiman Marcus and they immediately got back to me just with one picture with the retail wholesale suggested price because they knew it was a high profit margin for what I was selling and they liked it. So you really want to make sure you kind of hone in on that prior to the show. I'm seeing that you're asking, where can I find the information about the Sewing Center? So the name of the company is the New York Sewing Center. We're on Instagram as the New York Sewing Center, and also our website is the New York Sewing Center.
And would you suggest that they all have a digital line sheet as well as a printable one that they can easily hand out?
So I think there's a couple of variations you can do. I think it's nice to have both. Back in my like time of selling my line, I always like to have like a physical one that I could hand out because I felt like it was something that like, buyers could leave and they would be in their hotel room and they could flip through it rather than going straight to their email. So I found that to be kind of something a little different that always helped out. The other thing is if you have whatever kind of line sheet you have, whether it's on paper or if it's on digital, you should have an area available so you can take an order then and there. So you can utilize your line sheet as an order sheet. So you could have a place where you could basically put everything if you wanted in a cart for them, and then you could charge them 50% then and there. So anytime you take an order from a buyer, it's not taking an order and then waiting until the final shipment to pay them or for them to pay you. What I always did that was so helpful in starting my brand was to give them the line sheet and they would immediately in the moment say, "Oh, I want 20 of these, I want 100 of these." And then I would do the order form then and there. I would calculate the total for the wholesale cost that they were buying it from me, and then I would say, "Great, we actually do a 50% deposit and will be our shipping date options are this, and this." They chose the shipping date option then and there. And then they gave me a 50% deposit. I took their credit card information and I let them know if we're going to be shipping this in August, and I will charge your card for the final payment when it ships that day. And I'll send you the shipping information in the moment. So that was how I paid for all the fabric and how I paid for manufacturing. I see a couple of chats coming in, so I'm just going to look over really quick.
Someone did ask if there's an ideal profit margin that buyers usually want to see.
Yeah, you definitely want the double. You want it to be they're going to make double on whatever they put in. So if they're going to pay $50, they want to be able to mark it up to $100. That's a really high profit margin, and uh the only reason not to hit that is if your fabric is way too expensive. And to be honest, it's just kind of a standard in the industry that you don't really buy anything unless you can get a 50% markup on it. Um let's see, the fabric facility. Yes, so we also have fabric stores around us, and we're working on having a large. We sell fabric in our store as well, but we're working on getting a bigger collection soon of that. And then we do help designers get in front of buyers. So we have teamed up with the Model Experience. I know when I first met with them, I had really mentioned how important it was to have buyers at the show. And so I know based on some conversations, they're getting buyers at this fashion show, which is very exciting to see your collection in real life. We also teach you guys how to go to a trade show, which is another way and form to sell your collections to buyers. It's kind of a shopping market, like it's a shopping experience for the buyer. And then we also do virtual classes at the sewing center as well.
And I do know we have a mixture of people in today's Zoom call, some that are already confirmed to do the show, some that are hearing about both of us for the first time. But for those of you guys that are here, we are hosting a New York Fashion Week Festival show in September, right in New York City at the New York Army Arena. It's a perfect opportunity for you guys to present your collections on the runway. All experience levels are welcome. And as she mentions, we will be inviting buyers at the show. So it can definitely be the perfect opportunity to really put you guys in that spotlight. And then last call for any questions that you guys might have in the chat. I did see someone ask a question again regarding deposit and margins. They asked, can you talk more about payment terms? Is asking for 50% deposit traditional?
Yes. So when it comes to, I don't know if I'm muted or not. No, I'm good. Okay. All right. So here's the deal. If you're a very, very large brand that has done business with the buyers before, you probably don't need to take the 50% deposit. However, if you are a buyer and you're looking for new, fresh designers, it's more than normal for you to ask for the 50% payment up front. you do need to confirm your shipment dates. And I think another really crucial part of this is making sure that whatever you're designing, you can reorder that fabric. So if let's say you're designing a collection right now, you've made your samples, but you bought your fabric at, let's say, Mood fabric stores, and you didn't ask them if that fabric can be reordered, but you're just hopeful that you could get it again, you kind of put yourself in a really bad position, because then if you sell 100 of those dresses at the show and you go back to Mood and you ask them if you can get the fabric and they say it was just a limited selection, then you can't provide. So then you've taken a 50% deposit and you'd have to pay them back, right? So a way to avoid that is every fabric that's located in any retail store, it has a marking on it that is, it will tell you if you can reorder the fabric or if this is the final bulk of that fabric. And if you're not sure, you can ask somebody working at the store. The other thing you can do is if you're buying something that's like dead stock material or you're upcycling materials, if you know you have a great collection, let's say you know you're going to be using this white silk for 10 different looks, you can just buy the entire roll then and there. And fabric is also sold in retail and wholesale variations depending on how much you buy. So my plan of action for this, for any designers that we coach at the sewing center, is to look for a fabric that you can reorder, buy it for the retail price, and then wait to see if you get orders on it. And if you do, and you have enough orders to buy the entire roll, then you can buy that roll for a wholesale, which is 50% off.
Yeah, I feel like these are great tips. Even though I don't have a brand of my own, I feel like I'm learning so much.
There's so many little things that come up along the way.
Sure. Mm-hmm. And then,
but when it comes to the 50% deposit, I think that's more than normal. And even now, having our own stores, you know, through the New York Sewing Center. So we opened the Williamsburg location, and we have a shop in the front, and we sell our designers collections after we've curated each season, and we teach them how to do the wholesale and retail for that store. And I think it's always, no matter what store you're working with, I think they are very open to putting down a 50% deposit because they feel like it secures the order as well.
for sure. Just call for any questions that people might have in the chat. And then as we previously mentioned, we will be having a Fashion Week Festival show this September. If you're new to hearing about us, we will be inviting buyers at the show. We have a lot of amazing press coming, so it's definitely the perfect exposure opportunity. You can check us out on Instagram if you want to get an idea as to what the previous shows look like. But we also do have artists that come to the show to perform. You guys do get to gift them a piece of your brand as well. So again, definitely the perfect place to get started if you are new to showcasing, or if you do want to interact with buyers, it'll be the perfect place to get started with that too. So the chat is open for you guys. So if you're interested in showcasing for New York, want to see more info, we encourage you guys to put your email in the chat, do a / and then NYFWF so we can send that info over to you. If you guys are interested in taking courses at the New York Sewing Center, also put your email in the chat with the / courses so that we can make sure to send that information to you guys as well. And we have been recording this session, so we'll send you guys a recap. If you forgot to write something down, we'll definitely send the recording to you guys as well.
And Christine, thank you again for your time. We super appreciate all of the gems that you dropped today. And we look forward to spending New York Fashion Week with you guys. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks, guys.
And then I did put a link in the chat as well that will ask you if, you know, you've practiced line sheets before, if you worked with any stores or buyers, just so that, again, we get an idea as to, you know, who's in the chat and who we're speaking with today. And then someone asked if the sewing center helps with crocheting.
Yes, we do.
Your response.
We
Awesome.
do knitting, crocheting, and then we also have open workspace. So another element to the New York Sewing Center is our designer membership space that I mentioned, where we have offices that can be rented for a year. So you can develop your line, have an office, work out of there. But we have another element, which is our open sewing area. So if you do already know how to sew and you just need a workspace to cut and sew, we offer that for $10 an hour. And so you can come in as a designer and utilize the space.
And they will also have an activation this year for our New York show, which will be exciting for those of you guys that will be attending or showcasing in person too. Awesome. I see a lot of people putting their emails down. Thank you guys for that. And hopefully you guys are taking a lot of this information and really do find it beneficial. At the end of the day, you guys are the reason why we host these type of like workshops. We definitely want to make sure to help give you guys the resources that we have, combine forces and be able to help you guys in your designing journey. But if no one has any additional questions, that's pretty much all the info that we have for you guys today. Again, we'll be sending you guys a recording, sending you a recap, and we hope to see you guys at the New York show this September or at the New York Sewing Center as well. Okay, awesome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. And the last question we'll close off with is any tips on making your design brand stand out? With a lot of brands out there, sometimes it can feel saturated. I think one thing we've noticed from having shows often is always staying true to yourself and really knowing who your target audience is. Oftentimes, if you can be streetwear, like swimwear, like really focus on who your target audience is. Is it open to everybody? Is it open to anyone that just simply feels confident wearing your pieces? And oftentimes that will really be the key force to distinguishing you from other brands, your mission and statement. Well, we have one in LA. Currently, we're only doing New York this year. But if you are interested in LA, we hope to have one next year. LA is actually where we are based. But this year we'll be having one in New York. But if you're still interested in showcasing, still put your email down in the chat and we can send you the information for the future LA shows for sure. Okay, awesome. Have a good rest of your day, guys. And we look forward to connecting with you guys very soon.